This Focused Health 250 Betting Picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with our promo code RACESGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Also, make sure to sign up and enter the free football contest for up to $3,500 in prizes up for grabs. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll to enter today.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in. It's Thursday to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez, and today we talk Xfinity. We got robbed of it yesterday, Cody. It feels weird to be talking Xfinity on a Thursday, but here we are.
Here we are. It is, schedule's all shifted around, but that's all right. We'll make the best of it. And it was. I think it was actually good because we got a lot more options, got some better odds and some stuff. So. Good to wait today. Books were a little sleepy this week, but found some really good stuff and pretty excited. Games rolling, checking in the chat. Chris Farley voice, for the love of God, can Sheldon Creed get a win already? Probably not, but
you got to do it like this. For the love of God. Yeah, that's how you got to do it.
I figured you would be better at the impression than I would. That's why I didn't even try.
For the love of God. Yeah, you got to get all guttural in there. Yeah, I don't know. Listen, we'll talk about that. Obviously, I've got a couple of things to say about Sheldon Creed later on. You can't have an Xfinity race without talking about Sheldon Creed, especially nowadays. If you want to lock into second place, Jessica checking in saying good evening, guys. Good evening, Jessica.
Good evening, Jessica.
Thank you very much for joining us. Thanks everybody for joining us in the chat when they do. It's always a lot of fun. If you aren't in there, get in there and have some fun with us because we enjoy talking to you while we enjoy talking to each other. So it's always that extra added. But yeah, Cody, so we're at Atlanta. It's a super speedway for the Xfinity racers. Saturday night.
It's a drafting track, Rod. You have to say it properly. We don't say super speedway anymore. It's not cool. It's a drafting track.
It's a drafting.
Put your pinky up like you're saying Legacy Motor Club.
Ugh.
It's yeah.
I
guess that's the thing nowadays is drafting track, but it's a super speedway, same difference. I just had to give you shit.
Indeed. Well, as well you should, because it's exactly what a drafting track. Second time we've been here this season. We have a little bit to go off of, and this is not in any way a playoff race for these guys, which of course they're buddies on Sunday. This is a playoff.
Could be for some guys, Rod. Could be for some guys. Could make the playoffs.
Right?
Yeah, it is important. Then that's the thing is this is still a wild card race for the Xfinity Series. That battle at the cut line is very tight. You've got some guys underneath it there that are very capable of winning at a super speedway, and could very quickly upset that apple cart. So they have a few races left in their regular season, but definitely gonna be something to keep an eye on because you win this race, which we know everybody has a shot to do, just like at Daytona a couple of weeks ago, and just like every time we go to a super speedway. So, yeah, this race could have big playoff implications.
Yes, it could. And like you said, anybody can win these races. So it's just a matter of who can be the one at the end to do this. We saw in the Cup Series, Chase Briscoe threw the whole world into chaos, winning the last race of the regular season. Obviously, this is this was not even on a super speedway. So imagine if this would have been the last race for the Cup guys, how crazy that would have been. Yeah, we're talking all kinds of ramifications going on. We'll talk about all of that, but let's tell you first, at the Sports Gambling Podcast, they are back picking every NFL game against the spread like they've done every time, every season since 2011. These guys are beasts, so make sure you go listening to them right now. Plus, make sure to enter our free roll football contest up to $3,500 in cash up for grabs. You can sign up for that now at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll. If you see me waving around a highlighter today, it's my daughter's college night was last night. And she got a bunch of swag. I got some Fresno State stuff.
Oh, look at that.
Like Fresno
State highlighter. That's pretty fancy.
Well, that's okay. I got the banner, I got the sticker. I'm all Fresno Stated up. So if you guys don't know Fresno State, I didn't go there, but it's my favorite football team because where I actually went doesn't have a football team. So yeah, I had to pick somebody else. But
you went to college, Rod? What's that like?
Well, Cody, I'll tell you what it's like. Here we go. Okay, ready? This just for the 2-minute version of what it's like. I went to college as a 36-year-old man. So I went there, and while all the kids were complaining, all the 18-year-olds were complaining about walking from their dorm room, which was across campus, to the classroom at 10 a.m., I'm already at campus at 7 o'clock, having woken up at 4:30 so I could travel 3 hours to get to school. Wow. And then attend class.
Well, there's still hope for me then. Maybe I'll go to college when I'm 38 too.
I'm just saying, like I heard them say, I'm so tired. I had to get up at 8 o'clock today. And I was like, get the hell out of here, kid. I was up at 4:30. I took the BART in. Yeah, it was all awful. But yeah. Still, it's fun though. Look, it's fun. Learning new things is always a blast. And I got to use it here because I went to school for broadcasting, and here we are. All right, but you guys don't want to hear about my college days. You are here to listen to Xfinity Series picks.
Mark checking in the chat says 24. I don't know. Well, there's no 24 car in this race, so
it's a good show.
Maybe William Byron. Yeah, there you go. Maybe talk about the show. Maybe a William Byron thing there, but getting the chance started early. SVG. I think I got that right. So
you want to know Checo's got a heart attack going on?
Did your finger get stuck on the button? I don't know. JV, let's go. Time to grab those money bags. That's the plan. Let's grab those money bags. Rod, we do have some sort of news-ish items that I guess you could say if you want to talk about those quickly.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's talk news.
So first one, Martin Truex Jr. will compete in the 2025 Daytona 500. He's either going to race the 56 or the 78 car. My guess would be 56 because 78 is generally used by BJ McLeod unless BJ gives it up. But those are two numbers that meant a lot to him during his career. Raced the 56 car for Michael Waltrip Racing for a while, the blue Napa car. And then 78, of course, that was the car he was in when he won his championship with Furniture Row back in 2017, I believe. But the biggest news about this, Cole Pern coming out of retirement like he should have done for this entire season for Martin Truex Jr., but that's okay. And so they're going to partner up, and Pern will be his crew chief for that race. Sounds like it's a joint deal between Joe Gibbs Racing and 2311. Joe Gibbs can technically field another car, so it would have to be fielded through 2311, but I think it'll be kind of be a partnership type of car, but not like officially all announced yet, but it's going to be Truex will be in the 500 or will attempt to make the race, I guess, because he won't be in a chartered car. And then Cole Pern is going to return and sit atop the box for him.
So what you're saying is, look, I've already been down this road where a retired driver comes back and makes the Daytona 500. I don't particularly care this time around.
Well, I mean, the 500 is different than anywhere. Like anybody, Jimmy Johnson could win the 500 next year, Ron. It's not
stop.
like that's just, not a crazy.
He
could though. Like
stop it. I don't want to get my hopes
Trevor
up.
fucking Brain won. Austin Cindric won. Michael McDowell. Like these guys. Granted, Martin Truex Jr.'s never won on a super speedway in his life and probably won't win that one either. But at least if they come back for that race, they are capable of potentially doing it. So he'll have a shot. So that's, I guess, what you're looking for. The one other piece of news, RFK is progressing. This is from Jordan Bianchi of The Athletic. RFK progressing towards expanding to 3 full-time teams in 2025. Of course, the charter deal still going on. I would imagine we're waiting for that. But the move appears to be Kroger is going to leave JTG Doherty. and come to RFK and basically fund that third team. And for some reason, I would love to know the reason. They would like Ryan Preece to be their driver. Why? How does Ryan Preece keep getting these rides? Like, I don't. I'm sick of all the people you could pick. All the people, like, look at the Corey Himes, look at pick anybody in the Xfinity, the Truck Series, or even some of these Cup guys that are in lesser, like Ryan Preece. He's a great modified guy, and he'll show up every once in a while with some decent finishes. But have we not seen enough of Ryan Preece? And he was formerly a Kroger driver when he was back with JTG before in the 37 car, and also Chris Buescher drove the 37 car. Who's on with RFK now. So they've all kind of got that partnership there. But yeah, interesting. Why you would choose Ryan Preece to be your driver, I don't fully understand. I mean, he's probably going to have a pretty good shot at some short tracks, but outside of that, you think he's going to run as good as the 6 and 17 car do? I don't see that. So I don't really fully understand that, but not really big news for JTG. Apparently they've been like preparing to lose them, and they already re-signed Ricky Stenhouse, for a multi-year deal. So I think that they're pretty cool with all of that, but kind of an interesting move there.
I think my biggest takeaway from all of that is how much you paying for groceries if Kroger can fund an entire team.
Well, and actually, so TK saying, cheaper as backing, but he doesn't, because Kroger would be the sponsor. So you could put Rod in the car. He doesn't need to bring any money because Kroger's going to pay for it. And to answer your question, Rod, Kroger, much like Menards, uses all of their partners, right? So it's always the Kroger car, but then Kraft mac and cheese is on the hood, or Coca-Cola is on the hood, or any other number of things that are sold in Kroger stores, which is everything, right? So that's how they kind of, like Kroger pays for it and then gets their partners to partner with them, put it on the car. And it's actually like sort of a genius idea, because you're getting a bunch of different partners, the notoriety and all that stuff. So why Ryan Preece really just completely baffles me. I don't know. What about Ryan Preece makes you say, yeah, we should go sign that guy?
Well, I mean, it's not official yet. I mean, maybe the rumblings are there, but
if Jordan Bianchi's reporting on that's what's probably going to happen. Like he generally doesn't report something's going to happen. He'll say, I've kind of heard some, but I'd say there's probably, and granted, we need a charter deal still and all of that, but I'd say this is more likely than not what's going to happen. It's not the Alex Bowman rumors. Like, you haven't seen that from a guy like Bianchi. So I don't know, but interesting moves, I suppose.
Obviously, it'll be fun to keep an eye on that to see if that happens. RFK 3 cars, that could be dangerous for the rest of the Ford camp out there as well.
Priest, but
true, but we'll see. I don't know. Maybe there's a rocket ship in that Kroger. Maybe it's fueled by plastic bags. I don't know. We'll figure out how they can make that car go fast, and maybe Ryan Preece will be the beneficiary of it. So, speaking of going fast, that's what these Xfinity cars will be doing around Atlanta, and we'll start setting up our bets for this track. But first, let me take a minute to tell you about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy Pick'em gives you a chance to win 1,000 times your entry. The NFL is back, and there's a ton of pick'em specials to get you started. You can also use specials and boost on all flexed entries. We're going to give you an entire list of ones that you can use for the races coming up this weekend, especially for the Cup race. And then keep an eye on our socials and the YouTube channel as we give you some Xfinity picks for our favorite underdog plays for this race. In the meantime, though, go sign up with our promo code RACE-SGPN. You're going to claim a special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACE-SGPN. Cody, we are at the Atlanta Motor Speedway in Hampton, Georgia for the Focused Health 250, 163 laps around this 1.540 paved drafting track for 251.020 miles. This is, again, we talked about this too, where this isn't the traditional wide track that we've got, big track like a Daytona, like a Talladega. This is going to pop out 3 wide here and there, but you may see a lot of, in the Xfinity especially, there will be some single file action going on as cars just sort of bide their time and wait for the right time to make their move.
Yeah, we do seem to see it more often in Xfinity for sure, but it's still going to be crazy. Still super speedway or drafting track, right? And we're going to get the chaos. Pretty tough to bet on a guy at a very low number to win, but maybe we will, Rod. Who knows? Entry list: 37 cars entered, 38 spots available, so they will all make the race. Pretty short on the notables list from Bob Pockris this week. Lawless Allen is in the 15 car. Hopefully he can make it more than 5 laps before he blows up. Taylor Gray, Tay, back in the number 19 for JGR. Ryan Truex making another start in the Xfinity Series, Rod. He won Daytona 2 weeks ago, I believe, correct? So yeah, there you go. The last drafting super speedway track that we were at just 2 weeks ago. So that's it. That's your notable list there. Yeah, everybody else is just kind of your regulars.
It's what's crazy too is normally we see a bunch of people coming down and and obviously Cup drivers aren't going to make it down because this is not the race you want to get in there.
Yeah, less so on the super speedways in general. Walter checking in. Looking forward to Xfinity Series racing.
Like a streak of people that check in, right? We gotta do like a whole streak.
Yeah, it'd be like your time hop or something. Like you've checked in 47 episodes in a row.
That means you get a $5 SGPN gift card. Yay! There you go. I have to do that. Let's think about that in the off season. That'll be something to think of. Reward our faithful listeners for.
We just got to put a long code together, like they did, like the main show did for football, right? They had the 32-word phrase you had to put together if you listened to every single episode of the team previews, and there you go.
Perfect. We have to do that. So, all right. So again, not a whole lot of notable entries. The odds took forever to come out, but they did, and there's some good ones. Actually, it's funny because there were good ones, and then Cody came in and found better ones. So I had to update all of this. So if you see me kind of going darting back and forth, because I'm updating the graphic.
In some places, the odds were massively different than they were on other places. So
yeah, huge.
I love it. But Rod, you ready to get into the picks?
I think I'm ready to get in the picks. Is everybody else ready to get in the picks? I hear you nodding your head over there. So go for it.
Again, super speedway, drafting track. So you take it light, you have fun, you shoot for the moon, Rod. We're going to shoot for the moon by starting with SVG. 11-1 for a top 5 finish over on Bet365. Rod, we've already been here once this year, and SVG finished in 3rd place. So we know that he can do it. We know he can get it done. He also had a 12th place finish earlier this season in Daytona. And we've talked about him almost ad nauseum at this point recently, how much of a veteran driver he is, how experienced already he's getting with having his previous racing experience and using that age wisdom, I suppose, that comes with it to navigate these situations. He's already proven that he can get to the end of these drafting races, as he did here in the spring. Should not be at 11-1. So SVG, first guy on the card for a top 5 finish, 11-1.
Well, and he was it was 6-1 when we initially got it on. I think it was either.
I think Caesars has him at 6-1.
Yeah,
and Bet365 has him at 11-1. So I was gonna give him out at 6-1, Rob, but don't tell anybody because 11-1 is much better.
Shoot, 11-1.
But if hey, not everybody gets Bet365, I get it too. So if 6-1 is what you can get, I would still take it. Obviously, not nearly as good of a number, but trust me, I get it. Sometimes you're limited on your options and you don't get the full array of everything because a lot of us live in stupid states still. So,
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So obviously the threshold where we'll take it at is pretty good right there. So just know that if it's 6-1 where you're at, go ahead and take it because we were going to take it at 6-1. A lot like this next one that I was going to take at 6-1. Look, I understand, and I totally get you if you don't think that Josh Williams can be a top 5 driver because by and large, Josh Williams is not always a top 5 driver. In fact, very rarely is he a top 5 driver. However, if we think that Shane Van Gisbergen is going to be good in that 97, if we think, and we'll make a little bit of a case for it later on, that AJ Allmendinger is going to be good as well in that 16, well, who is his teammate? Well, that's Josh Williams in that 11 car, right? So there's going to probably be an instance where they're going to hang around each other for a little bit. Now, that didn't happen in the spring. He only finished 37th. in the spring in Atlanta, so can't really use that there. However, Williams did start 9th at Talladega. I know starting position doesn't mean anything, but there's speed when you start 9th, right? Especially on a drafting track when you're out there by yourself on a qualifying lap. There's speed in that car. Didn't turn it into a good finish. That was a 20th place finish. And then you go and you look at Daytona earlier. This is kind of where I'm leaning toward. We don't have any top 10s. If this is a top 10 bet, I would love to take a top 10 bet at half of this, right? It's 11-1 for Josh Williams on 365. It was plus 600 earlier on Caesars, and I think it still is. But again, I'll still take this at 6-1 only because, that's where I was comfortable taking it before. 6-1 is kind of a big number for a top 5 on a drafting track, especially if we think both of his teammates are going to be good. Again, with the 11 car this year, couple of good finishes inside the top 10. Charlotte was a top 8 finish. Portland was a top 7. I know it's a road course, but still. I'm putting a lot of hope in the fact that 11th place finish from Daytona a couple of weeks ago can translate into maybe a better finish for him in this instance. He sticks around SVG. He sticks around the 16 and figures out a way to keep himself out of trouble. He's not an entirely bad driver altogether, right? It's just that 11 car is not necessarily the best on the track. But you do look at what Daniel Hemrick did in this 11 car. He actually finished second here in 2023 on this track. Daniel Hemrick also finished second in 2023 in the spring in this track. So the 11 car, Daniel Hemrick finished 5th, by the way, in 2022 in this 11 car in the fall. And then, Daniel Hemrick, pretty damn good in this 11 car on this particular track. Maybe just maybe it finds its way back up there again. And 11-1, I feel like that's a good solid deal.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with it. I mean, I just made a case for his teammate. Obviously, we've seen Kaulig be probably better than any other team in the Xfinity Series as far as working together and getting their drivers to do so. And so I think that will probably continue to be this way. And 11-1 again, like you can the thing is you can take just about anyone as a school at 11-1 in the Xfinity Series. There is sort of a cliff where it's like, there is a bottom group of people that it's going to be really hard for them to get in the top 5, right? But not a Kaulig car. So at 11-1, I think that's a good call.
All righty, good, thank you. I'm loving the validation. I needed it. So even JB says he'll take a sprinkle on that. I hope he's talking about me and not you. Because
there you go. I think that might have been when I was talking about SVG, but that's okay. Next up, Rod, fast pasta. Look, if it's a delicious dinner, why would we not eat it again? He's been taking care of us all season long, or at least getting really close to making us look good. We're going to keep riding that the pasta train. Give me Anthony Alfredo, top 5 finish. This is plus 550 over on Bet365. 26 at Daytona 2 weeks ago, but Rod, remember how good that car was. He was mixing it up. He was up in there, front there. He was going all out for it, had chances to lead that race, win that race. Obviously got caught up in the wreck. That happens, right? That's the definition of drafting track and drafting racing. That's how it goes. But don't forget, a couple of weeks ago at Michigan, we had a race that was a drafting track race that's going to race a lot more like Atlanta has raced. That's what we used to compare when we were talking about Michigan. Was it's going to look more like Atlanta than it does Daytona, and it looked just like Atlanta, right? And so he finished 4th place there. You got to love that. Fine, you want to go back to a super speedway? Talladega, he finished 3rd there. 7th place here in the spring. He was only 2 spots outside of the top 5. He has been so consistently good and in competition on these drafting tracks. You got to love that. So give me some Anthony Alfredo, top 5 at plus 550.
What's crazy about Alfredo is that he really is, he's almost, I don't want to say the Joey Logano of it, because Joey Logano still at least has more success than does Anthony Alfredo. But it's hard to predict him because he's good in the mix, and then something happens, and it's not the piano that we've gotten used to with Justin Allgaier or some of these other guys, or Ty Majeski in the Truck Series. It's just something subtle that takes him out of contention.
Yeah, I mean, which is just like, really, that's just drafting racing. That's just super speedway racing. I mean, it's kind of the same thing with Ryan Sieg, we're going to talk about in a little bit. Like, he's going to be there's no doubt in my mind at some point in time he will be in the top 5 running around. They'll comment on how fast and good he looks. Sometimes he gets swept up in the wreck, and sometimes he makes it through. When he makes it through, you cash a bunch of bets on him. It's great. And when he gets caught up in it, well, it's just kind of how it goes, right? It's the same thing for Alfredo. He's going to be in the mix. He's going to be mixing it up with the leaders. He's going to have a chance. It worked, at Talladega. It worked in the spring here. It didn't work at Daytona a couple weeks ago. That's the literal nature of super speedway racing. Is you can be good consistently. Sometimes you get caught up in it. Sometimes you don't. And that's why, even though there's guys that we love to bet on super speedways, we still stay. You got to take it light. You got to go easy, because the best of the best get swept up in the wrecks. Look at Austin Hill at Daytona 2 weeks ago, right? The best driver, the fastest car, the best super speedway guy in Xfinity by far on lap 2 was out of the race because wrong place, wrong time, got swept up in the race or in a wreck with, nothing to do with how bad he was or anything like that. It just happens. So, I mean, really, Kyle Larson, really good at racing. He always gets caught. There's never the doesn't get caught up in it part.
No, that is the truth too. So, all right. Well, I'm going to shift my attention to young Sammy Smith, another top 5 for me. This was at plus 275. Cody, if you have 365 pulled back up again, I closed the tab. I know that it's a better price on Bet 365 for him as well, but I'd still take its top 5 at plus 275. Here's the thing.
Plus 260, Rob.
Plus 260. There we go. Is it
360?
Oh, 360. Yeah. See, I knew it was much better on 365. So plus 360. Here's the thing. Sammy Smith, we know that he is not going to be in JRM equipment again next season. Going back to JGR. That's what the announcement was, I think.
No,
right?
that was Brandon Jones. Sammy Smith, we don't know.
Oh, that's true. We don't know. But anyway, still, it's Sammy Smith. He still needs to show something to JGR. Brandon Jones, Sammy Smith. See how I don't know what it is about my JGR knowledge.
Smith and Jones, I mean, and they both actually were at JGR before. Yep. Now they're both at JRM, so I could see how you'd be confused, Rob.
It's Thursday. It's almost time to go. Sammy Smith, top 5, plus 360. His finishes here at Atlanta, 10th, 10th, 17th. So a couple of top 10 finishes, and we've said it before, if you can finish inside of the top 10 in one of these drafting tracks, all it is just picking the right line at the end of it to move up to a 5th place finish. We know that his JRM teammates are all pretty damn good on these tracks as well. So you got to think that that's going to go into somewhere. Hasn't been good for him so far on drafting tracks this season. 23rd at Daytona just a couple of weeks ago, 21st at Talladega before that, and the 23rd at Daytona to start the year off. But as we've said a couple of times with drivers, especially in the Cup Series, just because you're not good at Daytona and Talladega doesn't necessarily always mean that you're bad at Atlanta. Like I said, a couple of 10th place finishes in Atlanta means he's more comfortable on this 1.5 mile drafting track than he is on the gigantic 2.5 mile tracks that are Talladega and Daytona. So maybe it's a little easier for him to feel comfortable that it's not so expansive and that people don't get very squirrely. Maybe the single filedness of Atlanta kind of makes him feel better as well. I don't know what it is, but I do know that he does have better finishes on this track in particular. Again, plus 360 for a top 5 JRM car. That's insane. I mean, some of these other top 5 numbers have been horrendous on some of these guys because they're so good that you're just not getting good value. Austin Hill, minus 250. He's going to finish in the top 5.
No,
we know this.
No, he's not.
You don't think so?
I think so. We'll have that discussion later, Raj.
Yeah, we will. But minus 250 for Austin Hill, minus 125 for Jesse Love, plus 140 for Allgaier, right? I mean, these are numbers that you can't really put faith in because anything can happen. Now, plus 360 for a top 5. I'll take that all day, especially from a JRM car.
Yeah, and I think like one of the things to note as well, the Xfinity Series seems to have the top-heavy teams finish better more than the other 2 series do, right? In the Cup Series, it's like Cody Ware just finished 5th in the top 5. Like Parker Kligerman was in the top 5 on the last 100 yards to the stripe. Like we see that more in the Cup Series and in the Truck Series too than we do in Xfinity. Now you still get the upset guys and you still get more, than you would on a normal basis. But I would say that it seems like you still have more JRM, JGR type of cars, RCR cars that finish up there more consistently. Again, it's still drafting, super speedway, restrictor plate, as your brother pointing out here in the chat, type of racing, and people get swept up in it. But I do like the angle for taking what is a good car, right, in a JRM car at a good number to get into that top 5. So, yeah, I agree with you there.
Indeed. All right. Nick saying that he sees Sammy staying with JRM next year. It probably is. I mean, they just brought him over, right? So it would kind of not make sense to shuffle him out.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. Was this his first year or second year?
This is his first year with JRM.
His first year there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that JRM's got a pretty good relationship with Pilot, which is Sammy Smith's big sponsor. They had that, for a long time with his name's escaping me now. But yeah, guy that drove for a long time, that was the Pilot guy.
Well, then, yeah, like I said, I don't think they're going to shuffle him out quickly. So Sammy Smith staying, Brandon Jones leaving. Brandon Jones. All right, we'll get more picks to you here in a second. But let me first tell you, as I make you feel awkward heading to break, about Rhythm. Have you ever wanted to create your own sports betting model for football? I do. And I tell you what, you know that I have other jobs on top of this. I definitely am going to start using Rhythm to build my sports betting model because I realized very quickly that I should be having help from the professionals. Do you even know what a sports betting model is? I'm going to learn really quickly exactly the ins and outs of this. SGPN's proud partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and more importantly, player props, because who doesn't love them a good player prop? Build your model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or press build a model for me, and Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop, and also has a myriad of stats, research, and trend analysis to give you even more betting insights. The Rhythm College Football had me on Colorado versus North Dakota State under 59.5, which was a sweet cash. Going to build up some ones for this week, and we'll tell you about them later. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. You hate buying tickets. I hate buying tickets. I hate clicking about buying tickets. And so let me tell you first, the Game Time is going to make it easier for you to buy tickets, because when you go to buy tickets from a normal ticket buying app, you're clicking around and then you see some stuff and you like maybe you like the price for the second and you click on it and you're like, all right. And then it's maybe not even a real ticket that you're looking at and you don't know it. And then when you go to check out, that price that you liked so much, well, they tack on another $5,000 worth of fees. And now you're paying $16,000 to go see your favorite band and or your favorite comedy show and or something. I know I'm exaggerating, but that's the only way to get through to you folks nowadays. You don't like it unless it's grandiose. So I'm hitting home with these big numbers. But no, save all that stress, save all that time, save all those big numbers, and just move to Game Time. Game Time, download that app. You're going to get great tickets. You're going to get great prices, even on last-minute tickets, and it's all made for your phone, so you don't even have to worry about running to your computer to log on to try to get better deals. No, sir. Just take your phone and use it and get all the great stuff that Game Time has to offer. Even better, use the promo code SGPN. You are going to get a major discount. You're going to get $20 off of your first purchase. In my world, that's a major discount. So head over there now. Terms apply. Create an account. Redeem code SGPN for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Lowest prices, lowest last-minute tickets, all that good stuff. Guaranteed.
All right, Rod. Go for it.
I was just going to say, you ever have your gas tank just start to go on you? And then you're like, I need to pull over and find a gas station quickly, because if I don't.
Yeah, pretty much every time my vehicle's about to run out of gas, I get that close and I'm like, yeah, I should probably should put some more in this thing. But, shit happens.
Speaking of fuel mileage, let's continue on.
Speaking of fuel mileage, Rod, we're going to go over to the top Toyota group. There's only 5 Toyotas in this race. If I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. This is just a group. That's all it is. It's a group of 5 cars. 5 cars, right? All 5 of these guys should be pretty solid in this race, but it's a restrictor plate track. It's a super speedway. It's a drafting track. It's a large intermediate with the super speedway. I don't know. I ran out of things to say. Anyways, but things can happen, right? One wreck can wipe out 4. It could wipe out all 5 Toyotas, right? It wouldn't be crazy to see 5 cars caught up in a wreck. It wouldn't be crazy to see the Toyotas take each other out trying to do a strategy, right? The Cup Series guys did that earlier this year. So you got a group of 5 here. We're just going to go to the bottom. Take the bottom 2 guys. You get plus 400 on Taylor Gray. You get plus 550 on Corey Heim. And you just ride with that. I mean, there doesn't even have to be an argument for those guys, just because the main argument to this is you're just getting good numbers in a small group. If you would like some arguments, Taylor Gray, 1 career start in the Xfinity Series at a drafting track. That was Talladega, 15th place there. That's the greatest finish ever, but there's only 5 of them in the field. You only have to beat 3 Toyotas because we're taking 2 of them. In the trucks, he finished 19th at Daytona earlier this season, but 4th place at Atlanta. So 4th place finish here in the truck series. That's not bad. And then for Corey Heim at plus 550, he does not have any Xfinity Series starts on super speedways yet, but in the truck series, only 2 races this season, Daytona and Atlanta. That's the only times that the truck series is raced on super speedways. 2nd at Daytona, 3rd at Atlanta. Pretty fucking good, right? Getting to the end. Last season, 5th at Talladega and 8th at Daytona as well. So good runs out of both these guys on super speedways in the past. Again, they're very limited on their starts because they are younger guys. They're coming up from the truck series. But, Chandler Smith, Ryan Truex, and Sheldon Creed are the other guys in here. Look, I forgot I'm not supposed to say the number 81's name. He's been complete shit lately, so you could pretty much just count him out. Truex, he won at Daytona 2 weeks ago, but it doesn't always happen that way, right? And Creed, but he can fuck up a wet dream. I mean, it's Sheldon Creed. So, it's just a group where you're getting a guy at plus 550. You're getting another guy at plus 400. And I like that. So top Toyota, Corey Heim, 550. Taylor Gray, 4-1.
Well, and so, okay, I'm going to make a case for Ryan Truex here in a second. And honestly, all it takes is for Ryan Truex to be running up front or in the 2nd or 3rd place, somebody to get squirrely after a restart. And then boom, Corey Heim, Taylor Gray, they're running 9th and 10th. And Sheldon Creed and Ryan Truex take each other out, and that's it.
Yeah. What if Ryan Truex is 2nd place, going for the lead, and he comes down and crosses in front of Parker Kligerman and finishes 26th instead? Well, we just saw that happen 2 weeks ago for AJ Allmendinger at Daytona. Like it's that quick, and it can happen that much. And Ryan Truex should be great this weekend. He should be very good. You're just playing a numbers game, which is what this is about. You only have to beat 3 guys with 2 other guys. There's only 5 of them in the entire field, and so that's the way to look at it.
Well, then I'm going to say that Ryan Truex, though, will be a top 3 car, especially at 3-1. Look, he just won at Daytona a couple of weeks ago. I'm not even asking him to win this race again. I just want him to finish in the top 3. And I made an argument during the DFS episode on Friday, which is why you need to listen to all the episodes, because this was my strongest
That's tomorrow,
case.
by the way, if you were trying to do the math on that.
There's no math here, man. I'm going to take my highlighter and just
he already made the case for tomorrow's podcast.
Oh my God. My highlighter, the thing is done. Holy cow. It fell out.
Looks like Fresno State's football team.
Too soon. Too soon. My biggest argument last week came from the fact that it was the 20 car, right? I mean, that's all I had to say. Christopher Bell drove this 20 car as well.
Yeah,
that was
won 2 weeks in a row, right? Maybe even more than that. Shit, who knows?
No, the car's won 2 weeks in a row. It won at Darlington, it won at Daytona, it won at Nashville, it won at Loudon, it won at Dover, it won at Martinsville, it won in Las Vegas. In Daytona, earlier to start the season, John Hunter Nemechek drives it to a 7th place finish.
Did you mute yourself, Rod? Rod? Rod, I can't hear you. I don't know if everybody else can hear you. I still can't hear. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. I think, can anybody chat if you can hear me? Say you can hear me. Can you hear Rod or me? Or I can't hear you at all, so I don't know what you did. But JB saying come back to Earth, so I don't think he can hear you. JB, can you hear me? Hopefully, maybe. This is okay. He's gonna leave. Okay, TK said he can hear me, so I'll keep talking while Rod refreshes and comes back. But to all of his points with Ryan Truex, Rod, can you speak? Maybe? Okay. I'm on planet Earth, not Rod, according to JB in the chat. Anyways, but to his points on Truex, this is a really fast car, right? And that's what we've seen all season from this car. And Ryan Truex is a very good driver. He just proved 2 weeks ago at Daytona he can win the race. And so I think that, putting all of that in together at 3-1, it's a pretty good number. Again, we just made the point a few minutes ago on the JGR deal where these cars tend to be better in the Xfinity Series. And, in a general sense, they're going to get to the end more often. If this is less chaotic, ends up being really good. So I do agree with Rod. I think that Truex at 3-1, especially just being in this car, like this car alone has been so fast, and speed's not the only thing that matters on super speedways, but it still can come into play. So Rod, I can hear some type of noise. Are you there? I hear clicking and loud noises.
Check.
Oh, you're on the wrong microphone. That probably doesn't help. But all right, Rod's going to keep playing with his technical difficulties. I'll move on to my next pick. Rod, I said lots of good things about you while you were gone. I hope you know that. And yes, the picker was excellent as well. That is a great point by TK. So thank you for that. Moving on for me, I am going to go over to the top Chevy market. Obviously, a little bit of a bigger market. There's about 20 Chevrolets in this race. But for top Chevy, again, you got Austin Hill at the top of the board, +1.
No one can hear me.
I can hear you now. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me.
This is the weirdest thing in the world.
It is
Hang
strange. I don't know. Oh, boy. Working through technical difficulties. Anyways, continuing on the top Chevy market. Sorry for everybody. I'm sure Rod will probably clean some of this up in the podcast, but it happens, So, all right, top Chevy. I'm going to go 3 different guys, just kind of break it up into different parts. Again, anything can happen. Sure, Austin Hill should win this race. He should dominate. He should lead every lap. It should be good. Yeah, until he gets wrecked, right? AJ Allmendinger's at +360 or plus. No, he's at a bigger number than that. Thank God. AJ Allmendinger's at +650. Parker Kligerman at 8-1. And yeah, JDK doing it again. Brandon Jones at 18-1. The number's just too big to leave him off of there. But for AJ Allmendinger, I mean, he led 35 laps 2 weeks ago at Daytona. He was second place on the last lap. He came down in front of Kligerman and got shipped. Obviously ends up, but if he stayed in line, he would have been the top finishing Chevrolet, finishing in second place to Truex there. So you like that. He's been good there. 10th place at Michigan. He was 13th here in the spring, 10th at Daytona. In the Cup Series, 3rd place here in Atlanta in the Cup Series, and 6th place in last year's Daytona 500 in the Cup Series as well. So he has been very good there. For Parker Kligerman, just talked about him a minute ago when I said that he shipped AJ Allmendinger, right? He was right there as well in 3rd place. That's where he ends up finishing at Daytona 2 weeks ago. 11th place at Michigan, 8th place here last season. He was 4th in the spring here last year as well. So 2 good finishes at Atlanta last year. 4th at Daytona, 3rd at Atlanta, or at Talladega rather last year as well. So Kligerman has been a very, very good super speedway driver. And then for Brandon Jones, 9th place at Daytona, 14th place here last season. Go back to 2022, 7th and 11th here. He's had some good runs in the past there. Let's see. I'm going to catch up with the chat here. Rod was jumping in and saying doesn't know why he can't hear. I don't either. Morning Music News says if we don't all band together and take the Rod silent pick, then what are we even here for? Guaranteed hit. Love it. JV saying the aliens are trying to take Rod. I think it's big gambling. They're very scared. Look, if you didn't listen to Rod's picks last week, F1, NASCAR, he fucking killed it. So big gambling taking in. Rod, can you hear me now? Oh, we can't hear you though. I can't hear you. He says, oh, there we go.
Holy
Can you hear me?
cow.
Welcome back. The aliens have returned him. I'm catching up on the chat here quick. Well, let me finish that. Boji Joe says late to the game. Did Rod mention SVG yet? Did not, but I did. 11-1 top 5. Too good to pass up on. Yeah, Morning Music News was mentioning that we need to take all your picks because they're trying to silence you. And
So
Yeah.
Could you
I
watch
don't
the
know.
stream to hear? No, listen. So what happened?
Blink twice if you need help, Rob.
Oh, I need help for sure. What happened was my board decided to just freeze. This thing, I love it, but it is it's loved, right? And to the point now where I think it might be time to have to replace it. So it froze up for the first time in I don't know how long. It's never frozen before. So maybe maybe it needs to blink twice. All right, where'd we leave?
I'm glad I got those practice shows in by myself, so I wasn't
Thank God.
completely just left out to the wolves. I mean, you had been mid Truex talk for the top three. I think you made most of your points there, and then I kind of made a few points as well to back you up and agreed with that. I just gave out all my top Chevy picks, so you would be up next with your cold custard take.
Oh, perfect. See, that was perfect. Yeah, I did make all of the points that I needed to make it's the 20 car. That's all there is to it. And then for Cole Custer, I mean, it's a lot of the same, right? Cole Custer, top three. It's 3-1 now for Cole Custer. It's not sexy and it's never going to feel sexy. It's never going to be to the point where you think that, this is a bet I love to make, right? You don't place this and go, ooh, that hit of dopamine doesn't hit you. You place it and you go, really though? Did I just do that? But Cole Custer, I mean, 17 top 10 finishes in 23 starts, 5 top 5s. He just finished second last week in Darlington. Yeah, he finished 32nd at Daytona, but of course he got caught up in the mix. But a couple of second place finishes, one in Indianapolis, and then one in Las Vegas. But 16th in Atlanta earlier, 13th at Daytona. I think for me, this is it's just where I think Cole Custer. He finished 10th at Talladega too earlier in the year. But for Cole Custer, that 00, it's going to be there. And it may just be there at the end and you may not expect it. In 6 starts in Atlanta, he does have 2 top 5 finishes. In fact, 2 of his last 4 finishes here have been top 3 finishes, including a second place finish in 2019, which I know is before the repave, but a third place finish in 2023 in the spring. Yeah, and that's kind of where my argument is. He finished 16th earlier in the season, like I said before, but he's proven that he can finish in the top 3 on this track. And I think this is the bet that the folks out there didn't want me to get in, so they cut me off before I could say it.
Yeah, is this the one you need to take, or is it the Truex one? One of those two is for sure going to hit because that's what they were trying to stop you from giving. JDK checking in the chat. If you say Brandon Jones's name, I know JDK will come running. It happened. Says I'm way behind, but Brandon kicked me in the ball. Jones again. Yeah, dude, 18-1. Like, it's too big of a note. Like, he doesn't get it done a lot. I get it, but he gets it done enough that you got to keep betting on him. And then no argument for your Cole Custer take, Rod. Dude's been on fucking fire here lately. He's riding on top of the world. So no argument there. All right, Rod, breaking out the car lift. You know who's coming, right? You get the Corey LaJoie every time we go to a drafting track. In the Cup Series, you get the Ryan Sieg every time we go to a drafting track in the Xfinity Series, and he continues to show us why, right? Top 5-1 over on Bet365. Top finishing forward on Caesars at plus 330. Win the race at 30-1. Man, look, you go back 2 weeks ago at Daytona, he finished 5th place. I rest my case, right? That's like he got the start of the car lift. That's what you want. That's what you're looking for. Cash a nice top 5 for you. And you love it, right? You take that and run with it. So, but if you go back to last season, a 6th at Daytona and 8th place at the Daytona Fall race, he was 11th place here. Go back to 22 before that, 4th at Talladega in both races, 10th and 15th at Atlanta here, 8th place at Daytona. He's just a guy, and I mentioned him earlier when I was kind of comparing him to Anthony Alfredo. He is going to be in the mix throughout the day. If he can avoid the big one and avoid the chaos, he will have a chance to win this race at the end of the day. And, I made the point on Toyota earlier being a small group of cars. Rod, there's not very many Fords in this race either. I mean, it is more, right? It's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 Fords in this race. But you got Cole Custer, you got Riley Herbst. Obviously, those are kind of the big dogs. But then it's Sieg, then DeBenedetto, Perkins, the other Sieg, Massey, Allen, and Bayard. Like, it really does fall off kind of after that a lot. If Custer and Herbst, you'd hate for them to hit each other in the pits and take one of the cars out like they did 2 weeks ago at Daytona, right, Rod? Like, that's the type of thing that can happen, right? That's all it takes, and suddenly much less stiff competition at the top of the board. That's why I love the plus 330 there, because we don't get the top 10s, right? If there was a top 10, you'd be all over the top 10. But maybe he doesn't finish in the top 5, but he can get that top 10, still be the best finishing Ford. Ryan Sieg's made me a lot of money in the Xfinity Series over the years. Going to continue to bet him every time we come to drafting tracks. Get ready for it again in Talladega in a few weeks because you know it's going to happen. But Ryan Sieg car lift, top 5, 5-1, top 4 at 330, and win the race at 30-1.
Indeed. Yeah, I won't argue with you on the Ryan Sieg. I don't think I can. You know why? Because my board would probably freeze up if I argued with you on that one. So I don't want to do that again. I will add though that I do. Who do you like besides Cole? Herbst,
so Cole, Herbst, Sieg, if they all wreck out. I mean, DiBenedetto, I always like looking at. He's only plus 450, so the number's not great. And like Kyle Sieg is decent at these, but he's only plus 750. So I don't know that number's really worth it for the chaos that you will need. Like Lawless Allen would probably be the one I would look to at 25-1 because he's capable. Is the car capable of getting to the finish? I don't know. But he's a capable driver of getting it there. So, but I think that kind of extends the point of why Ryan Sieg is one of the better bets for top 4.
Yep, I agree. Again, he's going to do it, and I like the not going to wreck himself. That's another thing too. Yeah. Another feather.
And yes, he probably will chase stage points. I mean, he won a stage at Daytona, which again helps in his point of being good at there and being able to make the right moves. But he's locked in a very tight battle right on the cut line right now, trying to make the playoffs if he's not able to win.
Yes, sir. All right, I'm going to take the winning car number, and I'm going to take the not popular side of this one. It's a plus money. It's actually an even money, plus 100 for under 19.5. Obviously, they set it just at the cut line for the 20. The 20's the first one over. And then, of course, Austin Hill, who has won this race. And I'll talk about this later on, but that's another one up there. But after that, I mean, you kind of look at this, and those are the big two that kind of jump out to you right away. Then, yeah, there's SVG. Yeah, there's Riley Herbst. But you almost just want to bet those guys kind of individually if you're going to bet them. Under 19, though, you got guys like Custer, Mayer, Love. You get Alfredo if he accidentally wins this race, but you get Allgaier, you get Smith, you get Jones, you get AJ Allmendinger, you get Sheldon Creed, you get Taylor Gray. Like, that is a lot of people that you can say with confidence that all of those should be around the front and have a shot at winning. I can't say the same about Mason Maggio, Leland Honeyman, Ryan Ellis, Brendan Poole, Garrett Smithley, Jeremy Clements, right? Dawson Cram. I can't say that with that certainty with those guys. But with those under 19, the only people that I really left off were Lawless Allen, David Starr. That was it, honestly. Well, at CJ McLaughlin. But those are the only 3 guys that I left out under that 19.5. So if you're telling me that there's a bunch of people below this line that have the potential to win this race, then plus 100, even money, that's a damn good number for that many folks to have you covered.
Yeah, it's hard to argue. I mean, especially getting it at even money. Obviously, I think Austin Hill sways this heavily because he's on the other side, and probably Truex as well. Those are the biggest heavy hitters on the other side. There's a couple other guys that could win as well, but you get a lot more very capable of winning cars underneath, and I think that is a solid point there. So yeah, I've got no argument there. Rod, you mentioned Anthony Alfredo lucking his way into a win. Maybe he doesn't have to luck his way into a win. I've got some winners for you. Anthony Alfredo is one of them. Spoiler alert. Already give out Ryan Sieg as part of the car lifter course at 30-1. Walter checking in and saying this is poor Sheldon Creed's week. He's only 12-1. It's just not a big enough number. I'll be rooting for it. Like, I'm gonna be so happy for the kid when he does win because it's been such a fucking just battle for him, and it's gonna be great when it does happen. Hopefully, it's at Phoenix when he wins the championship and cashes some tickets for us. But not gonna bet on him. All right, Rod. AJ Allmendinger, 10-1. Second place at Daytona. He's going for the win. He's right there. Exactly what you want. He was up front all day long at Daytona. Led, 37, 34 laps earlier, and had a great day at Daytona. That's, exactly what you're looking for. And I made all the points a few minutes ago as far as when I was talking about him for Top Chevy. I like the Top Chevy bet. I also like him to win the race. Same thing with Parker Kligerman. I took him in the Top Chevy market, taking him to the outright as well, 15-1. Another guy that's just been really, really solid at super speedways. He's in the mix. He's on that points battle cut line area as well. A win gets them into the playoffs would be huge for that team. So you got to love that. Anthony Alfredo, I don't think he has to luck his way into it, Rod. I think he could just go out and win it, get it done. we've seen it, right? We already talked about him earlier as well. He has been really, really good on these tracks. This is his opportunity to win, his probably last opportunity to win before we get into the playoffs. At 30-1, I think the fast pasta is worth it. And then Rod, if Richard Childress doesn't have that little off switch that he had last week to just turn Retzlaff's car off after 2 laps. Parker Retzlaff, 50-1. Did anybody watch the Cup race at Daytona 2 weeks ago? Anybody? 50-1 in the Xfinity Series. He's in a Jordan Anderson car, very capable of winning car. What? 50-1. He was literally in second place in the last lap of the Cup Series race at Daytona. Why would you not bet on Parker Retzlaff? I mean, I've got other statistics too, right? 3rd there, 11th at Michigan, 8th here last year, 4th in the spring here last year. So he's good in both races last year. 4th at Daytona last year, 3rd at Talladega. Like, he's been very good on super speedways, and he just almost won the Cup race 2 weeks ago. Give me Parker Retzlaff, 50-1. Walter wants to know what book. I think I saw that on Caesars, but I did not write that down. So
I think that was Caesars because all of our early ones were from Caesars.
Yeah, he's still 50-1 over on Caesars. So it just 50-1. What, like, did we not watch the Cup race? He was there, and he gets into trouble a lot. Sure, maybe sort of, but I just read off a ton of good finishes on super speedways. Everybody gets in trouble on super speedways, but he's gotten to the end a lot of times and been in position. He obviously knows what to do. I mean, he made all of the right moves. Obviously, he maybe pissed off some Chevy people, pissed off Richard Childress, but he knows how to get it done, and he shouldn't be. He's 50-1, Rod. Like, it blows my mind. He shouldn't be that big of a number when he just so much proved it to us just a couple of weeks ago. So I don't know. It's crazy, but yeah, I do love it. So to recap that quickly, Allmendinger 10-1, Kligerman at 15-1, Alfredo 35-1, and Retzlaff 50-1.
Yeah, so you took a couple of the ones that I wanted as far as the longer shots were concerned. So I'm just gonna say it. Like I said it last week. You just sometimes you have to go with the guy that is right up top. Austin Hill. I know it's only plus 290. I know that this is a drafting track, but allow me to read off the finishes. This is going to be a very quick argument because I don't have to tell you past what I'm about to read you. I'll give you a couple more instances, but listen, here are his finishes in Atlanta. 2nd, 1st, 12th, 1st. That is what he has finished here. 3 of his last 4, he has won. He has led 206 laps of 836 possible on a drafting track. That's an obscene amount of numbers. 103 he led in the spring of 2023. He led 2 laps, just 2 laps earlier this spring to win the race. But I mean, look, he won Daytona, he won Atlanta. He started on the pole at Talladega. He only finished 14th in that one, but he led 14 laps. A couple weeks in Daytona, finished 2nd. But I mean, that was when him and Riley Herbst decided they wanted to play bumper cars instead of do an actual pit stop. Who knows where Cole Custer would have ended up finishing in that race had he not decided to take out his teammate. But I mean, I could go and I could read you all of his other career stats at drafting tracks or super speedway tracks, but you guys know the story. If you follow NASCAR at all, if you've listened to this show at all, you know that Austin Hill on super speedways, on drafting tracks, it's the way to go. He's got 3 wins at Daytona in 7 starts. At Talladega, he has got no wins, but Talladega is not a good track for him anyways. But Daytona, Atlanta, those are his 2 types of tracks. But I will say, at Talladega, 3 straight poles for him. He doesn't have the finishes there, but he's led laps in all of those races at Talladega as an Xfinity driver. So, I mean, plus 290 is still a decent enough, almost 3-1 for him to win this race is still a damn good investment, I think, in my opinion.
Rod, it's been a few weeks since we argued on the Xfinity Series show, so I'd like to fulfill my contractual obligations. Plus 290, man. I don't know. I'm sort of torn on this because it's a bit of a bigger number than we've gotten previously, right? And he's been really fucking good. There's just too many things that can go wrong. Way too many things that can go wrong in drafting track races. And 2 weeks ago at Daytona was the perfect example. This is why you don't bet guys at this short of a number, plus 290, because he he was the fastest in qualifying, right? He's going to start in the pole, and then they have to change something. He has to start in the back. Literally lap 2, some jackass wrecks half the field, and he's done. That's it. He's gone. It can happen that fast, and I know he's really good, and it doesn't matter how good you are, and he could lead every single lap until the last one, and then somebody puts the bumper on him or makes the move, and he loses it. I can't fathom betting somebody to win at such a short number. So I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one. If he wins, good for you if you bet on it and you hit him, but in my opinion, it's not worth. Like, I would rather him win and me lose the bets than me bet on him and him lose, because it's going to be painful that it was such a short number.
Look, all I'm saying is if somebody punches me in the nuts 3 times and then lines up to do it again, I'm going to assume that he's going to connect with
it's Brandon
nuts.
Jones. Oh,
yes, it's Brandon Jones. All right. Speaking of getting hit in the nuts, get out your pen and paper. Don't hit yourself in the nuts while you do it. We're going to go over our bets for this Focused Health 250. Cody started you out with Shane Van Gisbergen as a top 5 car at 11-1. Definitely take that number where you can find it. I gave you Josh Williams as a top 5 car at 11-1. Cody gave you Anthony Alfredo as a top 5 car at plus 550. I said Sammy Smith would be a top 5 car at plus 360. Cody gave you, and I didn't hear it. Oh, no, I heard this one. Corey Heim at plus 550 to be the top Toyota, and Taylor Gray at plus 400 to be the top Toyota. I said Ryan Truex, not Martin Truex. Ryan Truex would be a top 3 car at 3-1. Cody, this is what I didn't hear. Gave you AJ Allmendinger at plus 650 and Parker Kligerman at plus 800 to be the top Chevy, as well as Brandon Jones at 18-1. I said Cole Custer would be a top 3 car at 3-1. Cody rode the car lift with Ryan Sieg as a top 5 car at 5-1, top Ford at plus 330, and to win at 30-1. I said the winning car would come from them under 19.5 at plus 100. Cody said AJ Allmendinger at 10-1, Parker Kligerman at 15-1, Anthony Alfredo at 35-1, Parker Retzlaff at 50-1 would be the winners. And I said just put something on Austin Hill, whether or not you like it, because at plus 290, it's still a pretty decent price. Just watch the shot in the nuts.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. But all right, Cody.
It's all right. I already have the tweet saved in my drafts, Rod. This is why you don't bet guys at plus 290, and I'll hit tweet as soon as he gets caught up in a wreck.
I'm ready to retweet it and say shrug emoji. What are you gonna do? All right. Well, we've survived equipment failure. We've survived the big gambling trying to take me off the
Yeah. First of all, they don't even want to give us lines on the right day. Then they try to pull Rod off the air mid-show while he's in the middle of talking about a pick. They're feeling it, Rod. They're big gambling's out to get us. They broke your Fresno State highlighter.
No,
Jesus,
on my finger. This is all there is to it.
Horrible day.
Horrible. That's all right. We made the best of it, Cody, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
All right. Well then, let's end this horrible day, I suppose. No, let's end this great day. Let's end this great.
Football's back. We're about to go watch the Chiefs and Ravens play tonight. The fantasy season begins. Oh, it's all so beautiful. I love it so much. Going to be a good weekend. We got a full weekend of football. You got NFL Thursday, Friday, Sunday, college football on Saturday. You got Xfinity Series Saturday, Cup Series on Sunday. This is the time of year that I live for, Rod. Let's fucking go. Good luck this weekend. In the meantime, Rod, follow me over on the X at @Husker_Zeeb. You can find all of my stuff over there. And follow the show as well at NASCAR Gambling. Let's fucking go.
Let's go. Join us tomorrow. We've got DFS and we have got underdog picks for you for this race. Of course, keep an eye on our socials. Like I said, we got more for the Xfinity Series coming out too later on. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link at the bottom, everything I got going on, whether it's here. Got some articles coming out for Sportsbook Review now with NFL season around. Prop articles for some of these games. And then, of course, check out the back road. Tonight, Seth and I will be on breaking down Atlanta from the Cup Series angle. We love you all. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the DFS. Until then, let's go racing and let it ride.